Hello, everyone. This is Andre's pop culture guy. Sorry for the delay. Just got out from the shower. But anyway, I'm here. This is the first official new episode or new show I'm attempting to do called Andrea's Pop Culture Recap. Episode one. For these next 8 weeks, or yeah, 8 weeks, I'm going to discuss uh, Africa All Along slash The Penguin, the two comic book movies, TV shows, sorry, comic book TV shows from Marvel and DC. Yeah, if you want to see more my thoughts on, well, Africa All Along, I already done the MCU Bleeding Edge panel. Africa All Along recap over there, so you can check that out. And of course, the Monday report was going to be the Penguin weekly discussion. So we're going to start that this Monday coming up. Me, Jeff, and a couple of guest panelists who going to be there for us. So it'd be kind of cool. So anyway, I saw the first two episodes. So episode one, we're going to discuss the first two episodes of Africa All Along, and then of course the Penguin. It just had the one episode, so that's going to be the last one. Discussed towards the end of this live stream recap. And my overall thoughts of these two shows, they're fantastic. So far, I think my favorite is the Penguin, which I will get into. But overall, I think Marvel DC did a really good job delivering in high quality shows this week, which is crazy. Um, yeah, I think it's really fantastic. So starting with Africa, I really love the first episode. I think episode two was the strongest. I think this show has a lot of potential. I'm very excited to talk about it in 8 weeks. So what is Africa all along? So the story begins 3 years after Wanda has taken Africa's powers. If you remember in WandaVision, she has no powers and no recollection of who she is during episode one. Now, under a spell, she believes she is a detective in a small town solving a murder. With the help of a teen, played by Joe Locke, the spell is broken. Now she must form a covenant and travel the witch's road to regain her powers. Everything I so that's the summary of the pretty much the overall premise that we got from episode one and then episode two. What's my overall thoughts? I think this, if you like me, who the beginning of Phase Four, One Division. If you like One Division, this is the kind of show you should watch. Everything I love about One Division is everything that I love about superhero slash Halloween centric properties. It's really much rolled up into one, and this first two episodes, which is really great. And hopefully, going forward in the series, um, it could be consistent, just like One Division. It'd be a really great show and a great part of the MCU. It was hilarious, kooky, well acted. Africa Alone is shaping to be the show for people who enjoy all things camp and horror, which is great. Now, after seeing the first two episodes, I generally cannot think of a show this year that let me as excited for more as I irate earlier. The Chandra is a export in my notes. Exportation is no less experimental here than it was on One Division, which I think is kind of true. I think the show is really experimenting on the different types of genres right now, except this time around the show leans into the spooky vibes of horror and witchcraft, which is really interesting, and I am very excited for them to explore more of that in the MCU, the witchcraft and sorcery, supernatural. Um, Plus, the first two episodes are packed with cheeky references and get seriously creative with how they parody certain tropes. First up, the first episode. If you haven't seen this show, Dave show with Kate Winslet, the mayor of Easttown, spoof was really spot on, and I thought the humor there in the first 20 or 15 minutes in the first episode was like spot on, and the humor lands throughout, which is really great. Now, what I like, so one of the things I really appreciate about this first episode uh, of Africa is that I like how this story picks up where One Division ended. Africa is living in Westwood as a detective, as I mentioned, under the spell by Wanda after that series was over. And then this teenager, played by Joe Locke, that a lot of people think it's Billy Kaplan, that's going to be Weekend. Wicked. the superhero character from Avengers, helps her come out from that spell, and they go and recruit other witches to form a covenant, as we've seen in episode 2. And I really love this the satire slash comedic tone of the show. I think the humor is really good. It's not your typical MCU like humor. Sorry, uh, like typical MCU humor that doesn't land. This is the opposite of that. It's one of the dry. It has really dry humor that really works well, and it doesn't beat your head with the jokes. It's like it's there, and I laughed throughout the episode, especially Catherine Hahn. I think she's fantastic. I thought like her humor and is fantastic in the show. I mean, the scene where when Billy wants to like honorate the witches about the covenant they're joining, and you say, "Go ahead, I don't care." That is so funny. The way Catherine does it, it's just like she does not care about it. Just wants to get this thing rolling, which is pretty great. Um, but yeah, it's just really well with the Advocate's character. And I brought up Catherine Hahn, who is a phenomenal as Advocate here this time around. Very excited for her to have her own show, and very excited to see what we going to learn more about her in this coming weeks. Plus, we got Audrey Plaza, who's my favorite actress. She's in the first episodes, and first episodes. No, she's in episode 1. Episode 2, she's not in. That's something that we want to be clear. Audrey Plaza is in the first episode, and she has like a history with Africa, very interesting. It could be that they were former lovers or maybe former friends, and that maybe they were after the dark hold, the magic book that Agatha hold until Wanda took it from her in the WandaVision, and we saw it in Doctor Strange too, the Multiverse of Madness. Um, so I cannot wait to watch more of Audrey Plaza. This duo is very compelling to each other. I cannot believe. Well, actually, this is actually the second time they are together. I'm trying to remember. Um, in Parks and Recreation, they maybe have scenes together because Catherine was in Parks and Recreation. I think she was like one of the reporters in Powling, and you know that Audrey Plaza was one of the main characters in the cast of Parks and Recreation. Um, I need to double check that, but it's really great to see them interacting, and they are phenomenal with each other. I think they had chemistry, which is great. Furthermore, um, these first 2 episodes have done a really great job of seeing the audience and questions and the mysteries that the show is setting up. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it plays out at the series process. Always. I hope they do stick the landing, the mystery, and all that really well. That was something that was maybe a nitpick for One Division, how they sort of answer it. I hope this show can maybe improve on the mystery, like talk, and like give us satisfying answers towards the end of the show. But I want more about the other witches in the show that we got. Plus, of all plus I love all the references to the witches and the betrayals of witchcraft throughout these first 2 episodes. It feels fresh and new for Marvel. So yeah, I really like that. And just overall, one thing that feels very relatable is how when Avica approaches these other witches in episode 2, they were each at point in their lives where they are just tired of going through the motions and were resigned to let the world tremble them down as people. And because I like how in this show how how witchcraft in general, witches are being prosecuted and discriminated from ordinary people, how they are because of the bad stereotypes that we've seen in pop culture, which is a really interesting discussion, and I really like that it's very front on in this show. And I'm very excited to talk more about that in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully they explore more of that because it's very interesting. Because um, it's very funny how witchcraft is depicted as bad or like evil, in the centuries we know about this culture, and sometimes it's not that bad. And I think the show will show you that it has its ups. It has it's just like all of us, like the good and bad. like religion or government, you know, business or all that. So I am very curious how they gonna do that. Plus, where uh, plus when they are has a invite, has they have this invitation to walk to the witch's role, um, to either to obtain the power or answers or direction to their lives and uh, revitalize them into society maybe and give them something to strive for once again. So I'm very curious what this show's going to do for all of them. And sometimes that's all any of us want to need as well in life. So I really like that. um just wrapping up. That I brought up the Joe Locke character, the teen. I thought he was really good in the first episodes. I think he has really good chemistry with Catherine. He was really funny. As I brought up before, it's I think not a mystery that he's Billy Catherine, aka Wickenden. Um, but I'm very intrigued about why we cannot hear him tell his name because when he says something like very important, it sometimes gets blocked because maybe he is just like what happened to Africa. She's also under the spell, or he's been cursed or under spell or something. So I'm very curious how that's going to pan out. I like this one theory about he is actually Nicholas Scratch, the son of Africa. Like he could be the son that's been taking this body for himself. That could be a very huge twist because if you don't pay attention to the first 10 episodes, like we see Nicholas Scratch references and the in this around Africa in the first season of WandaVision, and then in this show as well. You see going to that room, you see like the name Nicholas Scratch, and then some of the images, like a lot of the child pictures, the drawings that we usually do when we're kids. And then you see the bunny. That's the thing. The bunny is called Nicholas Sonora Scratch. Um, that is referencing the son of Nicholas Scratch. Um, we'll see how that pans out. I'm very intrigued where we're gonna go for that. But I gotta say, um, I really enjoyed Joe Locke. He's very much enjoyable character. I think his interaction with the other cast is also really good. But really, we're all here for Catherine Han, who is the star of the show. She does not disappoint at all. She really elevates the show by providing what she deserves to be, uh, a fantastic actress with great sense of humor and great dramatic chops, and I think she really delivers at that. It makes sense why she was nominated for Emmy for this character in One Division, and hopefully she will get another one next year. But yes, so overall, just wrapping up on what has the Africa long first two episodes recap is a great start to a One Division sequel. If anyone knows, this is starting to be a One Division trilogy. So this is the sequel to One Division, and then the third and final chapter is going to be Division Quest, or whatever the Division show that we're going to see again. Paul Bettany's character Division, and plus, I think this is a great show already that is so much fun. The production design, the wardrobe, and the practical visual effects are really great and glorious. I think it's really spot on, and it's perfect for this Halloween season where we're getting into. So it's no convenient they release it just now and getting the few episodes in October. So that's really great. And of course. How much praise I'm gonna give Kev Han again? She's everything. I'm very excited to see the rest of her and the cast in this coming weeks. I think the MCU has struck gold with Africa, and I think the rest of the series can live up to the first two episodes when it'll be magically a good time in the next 8 weeks. So I hope you guys really enjoy the recap. So I'm very excited for next week's episode 3. Curious where we're gonna pan to that. Now let's get into the penguin. So so the penguin uh is the new DC show. It's a pretty much a spin-off from the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman, the 2022 film starring Robert Pattinson. It stars Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He's the main lead here, and I gotta say, I think this series fully excels these aspects and perfectly builds up the 2022 film, which is really good. And I cannot say enough about Colin Farrell's performance in this. Honestly, it may be his magnum opus as an actor in his like what 20 or 30-year career spanning. This guy gives the character the most gritty and godlike feel he can. And it's well done and it resonates. He is the I think he will. I think it could be officially after uh, Robin Blake Thomas, who played the Penguin in the Gotham. Like I think Colin Farrell can take the Covenant role of the definitive version of the Penguin. I think after the show's over because I just really enjoyed this version of the Penguin. He was the spotlight. If you talk about anyone, including myself, he was the MVP and like the breakout character from the Batman film. So I think I'm really excited for this episode. If you read the reviews and all that, like this first episode just went into like it kicked in full gear like in a bam for this episode, which was crazy. Um and speaking of the Batman, even without the Batman, I think the intrigue from him is so strong. The character of the Penguin, you don't even notice the Batman character. I think that's a really good thing. It shows that the show is confident to focus on the Penguin and like the crime aspect of Gotham instead of focusing on Batman. Yet again, because we're gonna get part two in 2026. I think this is a good like leeway for that sequel. So yeah, I am very excited for that. And the other side characters are pretty well done here, which I'm very excited to talk about, especially Sophie Falcone, one of my favorite characters. I think the actress that plays her is fantastic, and she was very scary. But yeah, so the first episode is a direct creation of a direct cutation or follow up of the Bat Reeves, the Batman. And I imagine those who haven't seen the latter will be a bit lost, but not too lost. They do a really good job of recapping the events of the Batman in like in the first 10 or 4 minutes into the first episode, and they do a really good job to like let you know what happened in that movie that leads up to this show. And so you don't have to worry about it. You haven't seen the movie, that no worries. They do a really good job of recapping the events of that film. But they seen yeah, I seen the Batman a while ago with my mom, so I'm very familiar with what happened. But this show did a really honorable job of quickly familiarize all of you guys, like myself, where the movie left off, and that's a good thing. Without getting bogged down with uh, dreadful recaps and all that. It also recaptures the movie's aesthetic and grim tone nicely, and that's really great because although the show has a lot of more moments of slight levity than the movie did, which that's saying a lot. And I think this really shows how good the show really recreates the tone what the Batman established, but this time it's going more for the Sopranos feel to it, which is really great. I think I really enjoyed that. Um, so getting to the Penguin, what is the Penguin? So after Common Falcone is pretty much assassinated from the Riddler in the first film. Like what we got through the assassination of Common Falcone, the destruction of the Gotham's seawall, Oswald Oz Comp is pretty much comped by Alberto Falcone, the son of Carmines, and the heir to his empire. And so during the first few minutes, Penguin goes into the iceberg launch, go into Carmine's office, and he finds some stash of blackmail stuff from some really high political people. And so while he's doing that, he gets the stuff. Alberto comes into um, the stash, and then they kind of have a little tense uh like one on one, but like Oz tries to I say calm Alberto down, and so Oz and then take a drink, and then Oz listens, and as Alberto is explaining that he has plans to re uh legitimize the Falcone drug operation. When Oz hears this, he tells him, he tells him that because Abruptly feels he cannot take up the mantle of being the Falcone leader. Oz reveals, he tries to kind of inspire him by telling him the story, his aspiration to be a powerful, respected monster or slash gangster. But after that speech, Alberto blocks him, and then that leads us to kill him, shoot him like impulsively, which is crazy. So this was very shocking. Like right after the bat, the fact that the penguin killed Alberto was really shocking. If anyone knows your Batman lore, Alberto actually becomes a major villain. Of course, if you haven't read the seminal classic, the Tim Sale slash Jeff Lowe Batman The Long Halloween, he is the holiday killer. Um, I don't know if they were gonna adapt that, but like I was very shocked that they killed him off right away because we saw that shot of a penguin shooting someone in the trailers, and I wasn't expecting that was actually Alberto, and so this was really shocking. And wait to start the show, like the contents of the storytelling that the show has is like, oh wow. So like now Alberto's done. What's gonna happen to Penguin? Like how he's gonna handle this? And before we get the tiles of the Penguin, the credit tile of the Penguin, he says right away the F bomb, which by the way, the show has nudity and F bomb, which is kind of crazy for a Batman property. Which is that's surprising. I mean, you've seen the Joker, Joker's radar too. So, um, but yeah. So after we see the credit tile for the Penguin. We see um Oz trying to dispose of Alberto's body, and but while he's trying to do that, his car is getting raided by a group of juvenile delinquents, and he captures one of them. He recruits one of them called Victor Algor to assist him in this situation. So Oz learns. So after he recruits him and takes him as wing, Oz learns that the Viconis plan to resume control of his drug ring, which is not good. So now he has now something he wants to um not have Viconis to take drug rings. But and by the way, overall the goal for Oz for the show is that he wants to take over the empire, and so he's slowly trying to see the plan for his takeover very slowly and thoughtful. But it does hit a curve when he encounters Sophie Falcone, played by Kristen Metley, the actress that played the mother from How You Met Your Mother. So she's playing Sophie Falcone. She is newly released from Arkham Asylum because apparently she's re- rehabilitatory. So and she asks Oz, "Where is Alberto?" And he tells her he doesn't know, despite you know, um, she say that well, when Hazy invites Oz to a lunch, she explains to her that Alberto told her about this new plan to revitalize the drug operation and like you know she was going to ask for lunch, and that puts Oz like in the corner. So he tries his best to tell her that he doesn't know what happened to him, and he say he knew some of the part, but he was a little like he was like left in the dark with the other stuff that Roberto told him, which is not true. So now he has to deal with her now, which is interesting towards that episode, like what's going to happen with their relationship or interaction now, what happened. So after that, Oz uh, takes Victor to his mom's house, and Oz plans to skip town, but he changes his mind after being encouraged by his mother, Frances, to now like actually take over the Falcone Empire. So he does, and then he tells Victor that he now has a job with him, and he now has to take orders for him now. So yeah. So and then after that, I think Oz visits Falcone's rival, Salvatore Rome, another famous Batman gangster. If you haven't seen, the Salvatore Maroni was the other gangster that you saw in The Dark Knight, that was played by Eric Roberts. So this version, played by Chris, all people, Lex Luthor himself from the DCAU, um, Clancy Brown, uh, is in Black Gray prison, due to, from the previous film, we got confirmation that he got framed by Van Cone and some of the shady government slash police officers to take Sartori's business away from him and put him in jail. That's what happened. So that's why he's in prison. And Penguin offers him to bring the Giant Corporation back to Marone's control, but Marone is reluctant. But reconsiders after Oz returns a ring that Carmine had taken from Marone. So after this whole situation, I think Oz goes back to his place, but he sees Sophie and some of her men there waiting for him, and so we got a really cool chase scene, and Oz trying to like get away from them. And of course, he has one fight with one of the goons, and he used one of his like fresheners to like stab his eye, which is crazy. And this is one of the like macabre, like Wednesday level humor. The guy, like Pinkman, getting his gun, was going to shoot him right there, but a randomly, conveniently funny like school bus with full training knocked the guy down, killing him instantly. It was so funny and so morbid, which is like right away the show just like I really love the humor here. Like I just think like you can do a fantastical Batman show or Batman film, whatever, by combining maybe like like a very Wednesday or like Anna's Family macabre kind of tone to like really bring out the fantastical or like humor kind of tone for like a Batman project, and I think the show is really delivering that. So that scene was like very like funny, and I mean I'm very like this show is not holding my hands with violence. Like they're very comfortable with what they're doing. It's not like Logan, where in the beginning of Logan, everyone was kind of excited that they were doing a rated R film, like because they were constantly throwing in every F bomb in the scene until we got into the like the motion of this plot. Here, the Penguin is like very comfortable with this, you know, the HBO Max, MPA kind of rating, and they're like, look, we're a gangster show. If you've seen The Sopranos, like with the sex and the nudity and the violence and the cursing, it has all that, and it's not like it's like it's not a big deal. It's just there, and it just shows how fresh the show is for a superior property like this, and it's really cool. So, but while Oz sees this, he gets knocked out by one of Sophie's men. Sophie captures and tortures Oz, and by the way, so this one I was going to bring this maybe towards the end of the show, but it's very interesting. When I saw this episode, it's very intriguing that this and Africa are very similar. Like first off, I'm not like similar, but also different at the same time. But first off, we got the kid that Oz takes in, Victor, or yeah, Vic. Uh, Vic, yeah, Vic. The this how you say disability kid who stutters. Um, it's funny that also Agatha has a kid, the teen played by Joe Long, and he's the opposite. That like it's funny that these two villains from these two popular characters are like having sidekicks, and especially with the Penguin, which I really like, that Vic is like a Robin to the Penguin, and the way he actually these two get to meet each other, it's similar to how Batman meets Jason Todd, the second Robin, in the post-crisis universe, where Jason Todd was taking out the wheels from the Batmobile when they revamped the character to to a more newer and more fresh Robin, because when Jason first introduced in the old continuity, he was like basically just the same as Dick Grayson, just from the circus and all that. But in the post crisis, he was now a street kid who was orphaned, and his parents were like bad criminals, and especially his dad was working with the Two Face. So, very funny that the Penguin has his like sidekick, and it's like he's basically his Robin, which is so funny. Um, and speaking of nudity, like we see Oz being tortured, who is naked, which I was just surprised. By the way, um, also from Africa, I did brought this up. Africa herself was also naked, and like after getting out of the spell. Uh, I find this very like convenient that like that we see two our main characters being naked, and it's like okay, this is very bizarre. So came back to Penguin. I just need to bring that up. That like it is very funny that the fact that these shows are simultaneously um airing, they also have some similarities each other. Like they have two proteges with them. They have a agenda they have that they want to achieve. Where you're like Africa wants to regain her powers. Where funny enough, the Penguin wants to control this vacuum of power that's left vacant from Carmine's assassination from the Batman. So very interesting where we're heading with these two shows, and that it's very parallel, but different. Because we're Attica, we're leaning into the macabre, like witchcraft, genre. Where this show is very much a crime, like gangster show that's in the vein of like Breaking Bad or like The Sopranos mainly. And so yeah, so Oz is being tortured, but Sophie and some of the Fancone family left is distracted by a sudden recovery of Alberto's body, staged by Victor. Um, to indicate the Maroon's crew. So right away, Victor is showing that he has the ambitions and he had really saved Oz for that moment. So now that Oz is released, and he's going to begin to plan with Victor to take control of the Funcone crime family. And then end credits, we hear 9 to 5 song from the movie 9 to 5, uh, from Miley Cyrus' aunt of all people. Yeah, so I. I so I recapped the episode for very good reasons. Fantastic first episode. I mean, very confident what they're doing. I'm very excited to move forward with the show as well for 8 weeks. It has 8 episodes as well. So and speaking of hours, everyone knows the MCU Africa Online's hours going to be like 45 or like usually that runtime that the Disney Plus shows has, where the Penguin show is going to be like 58 or hour long. So that's really cool. I mean, that's usually what HBO's episodes are. So just wrapping up here, because we're almost done here. I think as in the Batman, uh, the star here as well, just like uh, Africa Alon, you know, Colin Farrell does an excellent job portraying, Colin Pot, aka the Penguin, as a stereotypical mafia street guy. Uh, he's a very uncalled, profane, very quick to violence, but it was very savvy, cunning, and able to read people. And so I think this character might have absolutely nothing to do with the comic book version. Just the superficial kind of like the gangster, the gentleman crime version, but more leaning to the more the gangster side of the Penguin, which I like. I'm not a huge fan of the Penguin character, but there's some aspects I like. I do like Danny Veer's Penguin. I thought him being a freak makes sense in the Batman roles currently. But I do enjoy the gangster side of the Penguin because it fits to that mafia like pulp, like uh genre that the Batman has with some of his villains, especially the war on crime slash gangster genre that Batman always has, since his time as the character, or Batman Year One, stuff like that, like, or the Long Halloween as brought up. But he's very interesting in his own right, and I think I said before earlier, I think this is going to be the definitive version of the Penguin. So wrapping up, this series perfectly continues to set up this Batman version, this or perfectly set up this Batman universe that we have with Matt Reeves, and I cannot wait to see where they could go from here. I think this is one of the best series within the last decade, easily. One of my favorite shows. I think I will give Karen Farrell all the awards he deserves for this role. He's fantastic. I I think this is one of the best comic book performances that we have. This and the this Penguin show is like giving it giving Karen Farrell that memento of being the best comic book actor performance ever. Um, Plus the Batman. For my taste, simply the greatest portrayal of Gotham City. The show doesn't disappoint that. They really put on the show very well. The environment is really deceptively uh dank, visually everything you want to see for what is known as a dark gothic city, and I think the show really nails that, just like the Batman. And the large part of that was this mob underworld where Oz, aka the Penguin, is starting to take control. And there are similarities to the Sopranos I brought up, especially in tone. You really like a lot of dark stuff goes down in this opening episode, but there's still comedic moments that match the tone and do not undermine it. So, and that's my review of the Penguin, episode one. So, everyone, I hope you guys really enjoyed the Andreas Pop Culture recap episode one on Africa on episodes one and two, and the Penguin episode one. I'm gonna come back again next Friday for Africa's episode three and the Penguins episode two when they're released on Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, and next Sunday I'm gonna have another movie live stream review with Jeff and Aston. It's gonna be the 1974 classic Mel Brooks film, Blazing Saddles. It's for its 50th anniversary. So thank you guys for joining me for this awesome new show and another live stream. Uh, yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Ciao. Have a good weekend. Bye. It's almost done.